Short and sweet. That's my quick description of Ys 6, the Ark of Napishtim. The Ys series isn't known for its long games, at least until the more recent entries, but even compared to earlier Ys games, the Ark of Napishtim is a pretty breezy 10 to 12 hours long. It packs a lot of good stuff into those hours though, with a fast-paced narrative that still doesn't skimp on some important lore and payoff from previous games in the series, along with a gameplay system that is a little rough around the edges but has the signs of greatness that would be better realized in Oath of Felghana and Origin. The Ark of Napishtim won't blow anyone away, but it is essential for any Ys completionist and a fun game overall. Ys, the Ark of Napishtim is an action role-playing game developed by Nihon Falcom. The game is notable for reviving the previously long-dormant series. Not counting some remakes of the first two games, Ark of Napishtim was the first Ys game released in 8 years after Ys 5 Lost Kefin released in 1995. In the Ys timeline, the Ark of Napishtim comes after Ys 5, or for Western localized games, after Ys 8, and before Ys 7. The game released for Windows initially in 2003 with a later 2005 port to the PlayStation 2 that came to the West courtesy of Konami, and a 2006 port to PSP as well. Konami did make notable changes to the original game with some added content and art style alterations in addition to bringing in voice acting, at least for the PS2 version. The game I played though was the original on PC brought over and localized by Xseed in 2015. This PC version added several things to make the game better, including a new mode for the game that changes how certain items work called Catastrophe Mode, more on that in the gameplay section of the video. Xseed also improved graphics and added the ability to warp between monuments in the game, which is very helpful for this particular game. The reviews for the game are decent for PC, a little bit worse for PS2, and quite bad for the PSP, which I think, given what I've heard about the PSP port and its issues, is fair. On the whole, Ark is not held up as one of the top games in the series, but it is still an Ys game, and that to me means fun. The Ark of Napishtim is of course an Ys game, which means it stars Adol Kristin, the red-haired adventurer with a bad history of shipwrecks. Speaking of which, the game starts as he washes up on the shore of the Canaan Islands, a series of islands inside of the Great Vortex, a nigh impenetrable wall of water and wind. Adol got swept off his ship as he attempted a rescue of another sailor during an attack by the Roman Navy. Thankfully, he is found quickly upon his unceremonious beaching by Olha and Isha, the nieces of the nearby chieftain of the Reda, a sort of elfin race with tails. Despite the villagers' dislike of Arisians, the people from outside the islands, they shelter and nurse Adol back to health by request of Olha, who happens to be the priestess of the tribe. It doesn't take long before Adol gets into their good graces though by managing to beat back a wandering calamity from attacking Isha. From there, his adventures begin in earnest, as he encounters other washed-up humans who formed their own town on a different island, and explores the islands trying to find the missing Mirror of Zemeth for Olha. As usual, that is just the tip of the adventure Adol goes on. He encounters many different characters and uncovers a lot about the history of the islands. Like a lot of aspects of the game, the story is solid but certainly not transcendent. I think its strongest area is with its characters and setting. Each developed character left a strong impression on me with their strong personalities and motivations, and I do wish I had gotten more time to spend with each of them. And the Canaan Islands are a great setting, with a lot of distinct locations and notable history. As for gameplay, the Ark of Napishtim introduced a new gameplay system to the series that would subsequently be used and improved in the Oath of Felghana and Origin. It is called the Napishtim system for a reason. This system has Adol in a top-down approach with hack-and-slash combat, along with jumping, offering dodging opportunities and new ways to attack. Over the course of the game, you also obtain elemental attacks that can be used in combat. Ark links these abilities to 3 different swords you collect throughout the game. Livart is your wind power sword, Brillante is your fire power sword, and Erisil is your thunder power sword. And I probably mispronounced some of those. After you gather up enough MP, you can do a powerful special ability with that sword, and you can improve the sword's attack powers and abilities by tempering it with the special Emulous material that the swords are made out of. Thankfully, you can collect this material from defeated enemies. Convenient. This is highly advisable. It would be quite difficult to beat the game without tempering your swords as much as possible. In order to get enough materials, backtracking is necessary at several points of the game, along with grinding to get to the best level. Grinding isn't too bad in the game, but that's based on my experience on normal difficulty. I imagine the higher difficulties require more grinding in order to be ready for each challenge. The game is also fairly notorious for being obtuse when it comes to telling you where to go next. A guide will obviously solve this, but if you're going it alone, pay close attention and be prepared to do some traveling. Thankfully, the Wing of Alma allows you to warp between various monuments in the game, making travel far easier than it would have otherwise been. These monuments also serve as full healing spots and save points. There are plenty of goodies to find around the islands, but most of them you'll find just in the process of playing. However, in order to get the best possible equipment and items, you'll need to master one crucial skill: the dash jump. And it ain't easy. It involves moving slightly in the direction you want to go, waiting a very short moment, and then hitting the jump and attack buttons at the same time. This will catapult you forward, allowing you to reach certain platforms, but it is finicky and takes time to learn how to do. Otherwise, just thoroughly searching your surroundings will come up with all the stuff you need when it comes to armor, shields, and healing items. What you need to consider if you played other Napishtim system Ys games, though, is that in Ark, healing items don't just immediately heal you when you pick them up. They are actually items you hang onto and can use in battle if you set them as your item, at least in the standard mode. In Catastrophe mode, the items come into effect when you pick them up, and healing items are no longer available in shops. Healing items include the standard HP heals, but also have items that cure status effects that you can get from certain enemies, including but not limited to poison, heavy, and confuse. The enemy variety is actually quite good in my opinion. Some enemies need to be attacked in a certain way before you can beat them, and there's a good mix of types in each area. They offer a challenge, especially near the end game, but not so challenging to be frustrating. If you're struggling with them, a quick level up should put you back on even footing. On the other hand, the bosses in the game were honestly a bit of a letdown. While they are varied in design, they can all be taken out with a similar strategy, with one notable and annoying exception. Most of the bosses felt tepid in comparison to harder entries like Oath and Filgana, although this is still Ys. If you really want a challenge, you'll find one, at least on some of the bosses on the higher difficulties. As for presentation, the islands have a good environment, and I really like the coloring of the game with its blue and white emphasis, making me feel like I was next to the sea, which is an escape I could use at the moment. I have not kept it a secret how much I adore this era of Falcom art, and Ark has the charm and detail that keeps me enraptured, both with its in-game art and even more so with its rare but much appreciated still art pieces. However, as usual with Ys games, it was the music that was the standout presentation feature for me, with numerous great environmental and battle tracks. There's a certain sense I get from most Ys soundtracks, a sense of bold adventure, encouraging me to seek new horizons and challenge the limits of my own strength. Ark of Napishtim captures that feeling extremely well, and even adds in some good themes for calmer moments of introspection. That's it for my presentation thoughts, since the version of the game I played does not have voice acting, and I have not listened to the PS2 recording, so I can't speak to how the voice acting is for that version either. The Ark of Napishtim revived the Ys series with a very standard adult adventure, full of memorable characters, enjoyable gameplay, and beautiful music. 3 things that are among the hallmarks of the Ys series. While I don't recommend Ark as one of my favorites in the series, or as a great jumping on point for newcomers due to the narrative paying off lore set up from previous Ys games, and the somewhat obtuse gameplay systems, I do think it is a very worthwhile game to give a try if you're a fan of Ys and the action role-playing genre. Another excellent game in the Ys series, a game series I am seriously growing fond of over the course of this playthrough of the whole series. Next up for me will be Ys 7, and yes, I know chronologically Ys 8 is the earlier game, but because that adventure is pretty self-contained, I've decided from here on out to just go by release orders so that the gameplay will flow more similarly the rest of the way. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did to help this channel navigate through the great vortex that is the YouTube algorithm, and comment below your thoughts on this game or the East series in general. Subscribe to keep following my video game adventures, whether they star Adol or not, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Have a great day, and happy gaming.